Hey there everyone. So today we're going to do a half-face butterfly. So this is intended for you to be able to do a symmetrical butterfly design, but this is solely going to be one side. This cake I'm using is called Happy Birthday by DFX, and I am going to be using a cribbling sponge as well. I wanted to show you this magnet in the back, the neodymium magnet that I added E6000 with, and that's what I used to attach it to my Craft and Go paint station. So that's just a little side note. So we're loading the sponge. It was a little bit dry, so we just added a little more water. Gonna reload. And the yellow part, you always choose the lightest color on whatever cake you're using for an eye design and use that lighter color for the inner part of the eye. So you do have to be very careful not to add too much water, because if the paint does get into the child's eye, it will sting and it does not feel good. So you want to make sure the sponge is slightly dry. As you can see, I'm using almost the side of the sponge and just dabbing just a very little bit of yellow there. And I'm blending and using the edge of the sponge, which is almost dry, so that I'm careful not to put any water or paint inside of her eye. So I blend that out, and I'm very careful when I do this. Now you'll go ahead and lay the sponge on a sort of like, there you go, to the side, and you're gonna pounce and blend. Now I'm gonna show you, imagine there's an X in the center of her face. You're gonna follow that line up, and then you're gonna follow the X down. So that's gonna help you to get a really attractive look. Regardless of any design that you do, think about that X and where that line work should go. So here I'm pouncing one little bump, which is the top wing of the butterfly, and then the bottom part as well. So as you can notice, I am leaving an indentation right there, and I'm adding that next butterfly wing. Now you go ahead and put the sponge on the bottom. We're going to form the bottom wing. And I normally do this wing smaller, always smaller than the top wing. It just looks so much more attractive that way. I think that's where I was failing when I first tried these butterflies. So I'm going to go ahead and just do that one pouncing. I'm going to go under her eye, and I'm going to do that because I know that my sponge is almost dry. So there's not going to be any, it won't hurt her eye. So I'm going to go around, finish it up, make sure I have that really, really great color application. At this point, you can add glitter, and I'm not sure that it shows on camera too well, but at this point the paint is still pretty wet, so you can apply glitter. And so now we're going to go ahead and create the line work for the butterfly. I'm going to be using Petrol Blue, which can be found at sillyfarm.com. It's part of their Fab line, and I'm using a number 3 Lowell Cornell. This is probably my favorite brush. Art Factory does produce their own line of paintbrushes, and I noticed that number 3 they have is almost identical to this brush. The upgrade, in my opinion, is that the Art Factory brushes don't split. Like, the wood does not split in the water as fast as other brushes that I've used from other face painting sites. So I'm going to go ahead and start here. Now what we're going to do is focus on the top part of the wing. So we're going to do a curved line from the top all the way down. It's going to be an elongated teardrop basically. I'm going to go ahead and come down. We're going to form that top wing, make one hump there. We're going to add another hump, another curved line, And right here, I really love using this substitution for eyeliner. You're basically making a line. See, I go out and then I come all the way out to the side and come back into the eye line. That's because I don't really like putting eyeliner on the child's eyelid, so I think this is a really good alternative choice. So I'll make another loop, and we're going to form the bottom wing. Here it is right here. We're going to do another elongated teardrop. I'm going to pull it down and come up, make another loop, come all the way down and make that swirl. You can double it if you like, of course. We're going to add some teardrops here for the end of the wing just to make it super cute. Here's 1, 2, 3. And so what I'm doing is barely touching with the tip of that little cornel, and then I'm pressing where I know I want that teardrop to stop. At this point, well, I'm going to go ahead and go over that line. I wasn't too happy with it. It was just slightly wiggly, more than I'd like. Now at this point, you can add teardrops all the way up if you want. But when it's, yeah, you can make the teardrops all the way up, or you can do dots, which I normally do when it's a festival and there's a lot of kiddos. Just makes it go a little bit faster, but you're not taking away the integrity of the design. So, and that's just to tie it all closely together. So I'm going to just touch this up a little bit. We're going to go ahead and add that antenna. I decided to go ahead and make a swirl right there at the top. Now I'm going to load a different little cornel, and I'm going to add some white dots. So this is going to go ahead and make the design stand out a little bit. So I went ahead and loaded my number 3 little cornel, and I'm just putting dots at the top wing and at the bottom wing, and just strategically placed where I think that it would suit the design. You want to make odd numbers of dots whenever you can. So you would do sets of 3, sets of 5, sets of 7. They just look a little more attractive that way. Teardrops work the same way. So you always want to make sure to do that odd number. At this point, you would go ahead and mirror the design. Well, not at this point, I apologize. You'd go ahead and do both, and you would follow that X. So then they would both be mirroring each other symmetrically. Make sure you follow that curved arch at the top wing. I always find that it looks just slightly more attractive than just say a flat line. So that's it.